Hello, I'm Alan. I'm filming this shortly after I recorded the drinking the Mayleaf's Monocle Boss. Figured it's kind of time to do an about me. During that video, it might probably, especially after I kind of say it, you can look back and see. But I was kind of grumpy during it. There was a lot. I'd been avoiding recording that video for a while, mostly out of embarrassment or shame for, I guess, admitting that I was drinking a Mayleaf pu'er. So this is going to be an about me. I was going to do it later. I had planned for this in several weeks or months when I was finished drinking all of my Teavana tea. So what I'm drinking is a Teavana Darjeeling. So I won't analyze it too much. You can't repurchase it. They're out of business. So it was just kind of a symbolic thing of where Teavana was my very first entry into tea. Loose leaf especially. So I'd had like tisanes and things. They were my first loose leaf. So it's going to be a homage. So it is the last tea of theirs that I'm drinking, but it's not the last of the last tea of theirs I'm drinking. I'm drinking it early. So it's just Teavana Darjeeling. So, and we're going to drink it out of a Mayleaf Master Wu Chow Joe clay teapot. Another thing that it's making me grumpy only because of how I'm approaching it, and so I'll kind of go into that in just a second. So we'll get that kind of heating up. It's not grumpy over, it's just embarrassment. So this is going to be a bad, awkward video. I already know. I'll just do this do it like 30 seconds. But so about me, I am a tea noob, 100%. And part of what helped create that, was how I grew up. So I grew up and still live in Utah, which is Mormon headquarters. And so for the first 25 years, or 26, somewhere in there, I grew up Mormon in LDS. And then I did the apostate thing and decided to research and realized that I had been lied to and that it was all bogus, and so I left. But that's about the extent I'll go into that. It's mostly just to say, okay, for the majority of my life, I'm 32 right now, and until February 2014, which is when I resigned, I was a Mormon, and tea is banned in that religion. So I did not grow up with this at all. It was banned, and I was a dutiful little Mormon boy and didn't drink it. So around that time is when, so I graduated culinary school. I worked, it was a 2-year certificate trade school here. It was MATC at the time. They've changed the name now. And worked kind of a combined total of about 12 years in the industry. And so at that time, I was working at a cheesecake factory at City Creek Mall in Salt Lake, and right next to it was a Teavana. And so I was still fresh out of leaving the church, discovered Teavana. I was like, ooh, tea. And it was at the Teavana tea house, or whatever they would call that, where I finally had my first tea that wasn't gross, because before that it was just like fast food, iced tea, or even tea bags. I'd had like 1 or 2 of those, and all it was just this nasty, bitter, astringent green tea that was gross. I'm like, how is there like these fanatic fans over this thing that is so disgusting? And it was at Teavana is where I had my first not disgusting tea, where I was like, oh, okay, this is yummy. My motivation for going was mostly to get caffeine so that way I could stay awake during my shift. I was working 2 jobs at the time, and Cheesecake Factory was the night shift, so I started at like 5 p.m. and I was going to be working till 2 a.m. in the kitchen. So it was... Excuse me. So it was mostly just for the caffeine and to kind of explore it a bit, and it was the first... I don't remember which one it was. It was either a Earl Grey or a Darjeeling or a Pu'er. One of those 3 were the first one where, after they gave it to me, I was like, whoa, okay, tea can be yummy. Now, I've since leveled up even more beyond Teavana, but that was my very first. And I managed to be able to remember, as they were going out of business, I bought a whole bunch of the ones that I knew I liked, and then a couple that I was curious about. But as they were being shut down, I hadn't found any other vendors yet at that time, so Teavana was my tea source. So I'm like, shit, where am I going to get my tea? So I bought a bunch. I bought some of their ripe Pu'er, I bought their Earl Grey, and large amounts, like a half-gallon mason jar size, not half-gallon, sorry, like half of a half-gallon, so a quart-size mason jar. No, the Pu'er I did, it filled the whole thing. Anyway, I bought a lot of these out of the fear that it was going away and I wouldn't have good tea anymore. So I bought a bunch of their ripe Pu'er, I bought a bunch of their Earl Grey, their English breakfast, their Tung Ting Oolong, and then, and that's just the pure leaves. Then I had a couple of tisanes, comfort tea. Comfort tea was the tisane, and then some of the blends. Maharaja chai, which was pretty yummy. Very intense though, but still yummy. And then their jasmine dragon pearls. So that, I just bought a whole bunch. What is that? 2, 4, 6, 7 teas of theirs. And this one is the last of what I have from them. And so I'm just drinking it at work. It's my daily drinker, you'd say. Just kind of bust through it. I'll get another steep going. So after they went out of business and I bought them, then I started to look. I'm like, okay, where would I find tea next? So where will I get this? And so I went online because I'm in Utah. There's no tea houses, and that was the only one. So I went online, found Mayleaf, and through their marketing, and the fact that they were the only ones I knew about at the time, I was like, boom, okay, more good tea. And their Pu'er was the first non-Teavana tea I had ever purchased. And I went back and looked at my transaction. It's pretty cool that they kept the purchase history. And I bought this pot, so this Master Wu Chow Joe clay teapot, at the same time that I bought the Pu'er. And the exact same order, so I got them both. So trying not to ramble too much, but long story short, I found Mayleaf. That's who I was relying on, and I was buying their tea. It was delicious. And as it was about a month ago, somewhere ish, I came across TDB, their channel, and watched several of their videos. They were also doing Pu'ers, and then realized they had a blog, so I went to their blog, and just reading through their blog posts, but then also the comments, I was starting to get the sense that Mayleaf is poo-pooed on. so far, my experience had always been that the tea was delicious. Their Kumidori Gyokuro was mind-blowing to me. It's still amazing. And that's part of why I'm hitting it hard so much, is because I loved it so much. There's several motivations. One, I loved it a lot. It was really good. Two, I'm hitting it hard because of the embarrassment or shame that I started to receive based on reading people's comments poo-pooing their teas. I was like, fuck, I just left a cult. Did I join another cult that's lying to me? And now that I've found other vendors, and it's just... So filming that last review just put me in a grumpy spot as I was avoiding it, because it's just like, ugh, I gotta admit that this is what I've got, and this is what I'm doing with it, and trying to age it, and just I drink it once a year on my birthday, and anyway, just a lot of embarrassment and shame. It's made me grumpy. But through that, I've now found all these vendors, and it's like, holy shit, it's now intimidating and daunting. But I decided to focus on one and really learn it. I love the Gyokuro. So that was one of the motivations. The next one was I have seasonal depression pretty bad, and it's winter time. And last winter was really hard. God, fuck. So I want to live, and so I was researching like just teas that could help with seasonal depression, and the theanine that's high in Gyokuro is supposed to help with that. So decided to hit it hard, learn it, out of fear that I had joined another cult and had been sold and lied to. Deciding to hit this one hard, and really, really hard. I've got like 23 or 25 or something. I'd have to recount. Teas to drink through. So I'm learning it. Anyway, so that last recording I did was just... People can be mean in the threads, and they're just fighting, and as Pu'er has this weird, also another cult-like following where people are yelling at each other, people are doing it wrong, so I was embarrassed that, one, I'm brewing it in whose tea it was I was drinking, what I was drinking it in, that glass teapot. Just lots of shame and embarrassment. So part of what I'm doing with this, well, before I go there, reading their blogs, one of the comments was actually really, really helpful. I'm just kind of paraphrasing. I'll find the link so you can get to that article and read it. But he was essentially like, I wish that I could go back and document my journey through exploring tea. And so from that, I was like, well, that's exactly where I'm at. I'm right at the cusp. I'm completely noob. For the first 25 or 6 years of my life, I was Mormon and never drank it. Shortly after that, I found Teavana, and so after I left, I found Teavana, so I drank theirs. They went out of business. I kind of hoarded a bunch and was drinking through it. Then found Mayleaf, so there's just another hope. I was like, woohoo! Another source of good loose leaf tea, because we don't have any tea houses. So now I've transitioned to online tea buying. He has a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, a lot of passion for his teas. The teas I've had, is in defense of him, I guess, have all been great, high quality, amazing teas. So I guess as I'm reading through, I'm identifying people's source of why they poo-poo on him so much is just some of the claims he makes about his pu'ers in general. And some of these people they admit to not even ever buying his tea. So they're judging it based on information he's giving. So, knowing that, I then ran, as I was reading through the TDB, there's the one guy who said, okay, I wish I could document my journey, go back in time and do that. I was like, that's exactly where I'm at. I'm right there at the beginning. I am a noob. And so part of why I named my channel is Tea Student, to just kind of emphasize the fact that I am a beginner. I am starting the tea education. I'm with Gyokuro especially. I'm paying my tuition for it. I've bought a lot, and it is not a cheap tea to buy. Again, and that one just kind of goes back to I loved it, and it's getting wintertime, and I'm just trying to help survive the winter that's coming. Winter's coming. It's a good show if you get that reference. Woo! One perk of this tea is it teaches me what bitterness is. That was a 35-second steep. There's like 10 grams of leaf in there, or like 9 or 10 grams or something. And it is bitter. So that at least, cheers, help me identify that flavor for sure. I don't know kind of where else to kind of go with this about me, but that's my background. And the motivation to why I started the channel was just to kind of document my journey. I was really embarrassed with the last one, and it wasn't embarrassment because the tea was bad. It was embarrassment because of how people, or I guess embarrassment for admitting to drinking a tea that people hate on so hard. But now that's out of the way, I can kind of shed some of that garbage. There's one more pu'er of theirs that I bought even before, so maybe 6 weeks ago or so. It was at aged, so I guess show ripened pu'er. But I'll do a video on that one. So I've got one more of theirs to drink through as far as that. And it was shortly after that is where I started going down the dark hole of the blogs, and then read that comment where he's like, oh, I wish I could document it. And now I was like, that's me, perfect. Okay, now I'm documenting it. You can experience the awkward journey of this 32-year-old tea noob discovering tea, and hope that through it, that it helps make tea more approachable. One thing I'm finding is that tea is as much of a cult as Mormonism was in many ways, where it's like there is one right way to do it. If you're buying don't buy from this vendor, only buy from that vendor, and only brew it in this vessel, don't brew it in glass, only clay, and only this one type of Yixing clay, and it just, the barrier to entry is intense. So hopefully part of this channel can help, one, document the journey as I learn what tea is, but then also help lower the barrier to entry. You can have amazingly brewed tea in glass. If that's all you can afford is a $5 glass teapot, do it. Okay, got all of that out of there. That's my about me. I can't think anything else I wanted to bring up. Oh, I guess one other thing I could bring up. So somewhere in there, it was like a year or two ago, for a short time I found somebody who did tea ceremonies, and they did it in bowl. Bowl tea ceremonies, and I attended 2 before they moved back east. I want to say New York, and so they stopped doing the local stuff here. But during them, I was served a pu'er and a hojicha. So that list of Tivana teas, the bowl ceremonies, pu'er, and hojicha are the ones that I can't test, taste, drink through, review. One, because the companies don't exist anymore, but it's mostly just to document what I've had pre what I have now. And so I still have everything I've bought. That Monocle Boss was the very, very first one I bought that was not Tivana, and I still have it. And I still have every variety of tea I've bought, so I'll be reviewing them and drinking through them, kind of giving my tasting notes and learning what they are, so you can join this journey with me. But I think that got the most of what thoughts I wanted to give out. Just, tea shouldn't be this culty thing. It should be this beautiful, trying to think the words, like just this, should be enjoyable and bring you happiness, and like hopefully it can just be, I can find that. And anyway, I'll sign off for now. I'm just rambling, and that's me, that's my background, and we'll just see you when I do the next one. I don't know if I'll do that today or tomorrow or sometime in the next few days, but I'll sign off for now. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you later.